Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Today we're going to do question number 8 in Robert Z's vinyl community lottery. Like all the other questions, he's revisiting some questions of old, and this was a really good one. I actually remember doing this one a number of years ago, where simply put, it's define what a grail is. You know, it's a term that we all typically use, and of course it's very, very subjective in so many different ways, so he just wanted us to define what we consider a grail to be. So when I kind of thought about it, you know, just in terms of when I use that word for myself and everything, there's basically 4 different types of grails that I'll get something in my hands or in my possession, bring it in my collection, that in my mind I'm labeling it a grail. I may not say grail if I show it in a video or whatever, but in my mind I'm labeling it as a grail. So those 4 different categories in no particular order here, we're going to start out with number 1, condition grails. Like in my mind, what that is these are albums that I've seen a number of people show. Maybe I've seen the album at, you know, record shows or stores or that type of thing. But what made me excited about this copy that I got was just because I don't normally see it in this condition. And so just, yeah, it may be a little rare, but there seems to be plenty floating out there. But to find one in this condition is what made it a grail to me. All right, so I kind of picked out 3 for each one of the categories of grails that I have here. So on condition grails, for me, it would be stuff like this, which is Kiss. This, of course, is their album No Kissing Time, or it's Kiss, but it's the Kiss version with no kissing time on it. Which, for anyone that's maybe not familiar with that, when the album first came out, the song Kissing Time was not on the album. And then a couple of represses into the original releases, they added the song Kissing Time. So if you stumble across one of these and you see the song Kissing Time is not on there, you know, definitely make sure you grab it. But yeah, again, I've seen these a number of times in stores. I've seen people show them in the VC and that type of thing. But especially with the black cover and that early Kiss, you usually find a ton of ring wear and stuff like that. And outside of a little wear on this spine right over here, as you can see, it's pretty darn clean. It's probably hard to see with the glare coming off there with the camera, but so the condition of this one alone is one that made me think not only is it a no kissing time, but like that's pretty clean as far as condition goes. Another one here, same thing. Led Zeppelin 2 RL pressing. Again, yes, these are, you know, kind of rare, but you still see them pop up a lot, it seems. And again, you see a lot of VG, you know, ones that are for sale and that type of thing. But to find one again in this condition, which is pushing extremely strong VG++ to excellent condition on both the vinyl and the cover, it's just like the condition of this is what makes this a very special RL, because like I said, it's fairly easy to get your hands on a VG RL, you know, pretty easy. But this one, you know, and it plays excellent plus to near mint minus, so just a fantastic, beautiful copy based on the condition. And again, it's not always about value, of course, when it comes to that condition piece, because this is one that I consider to be a grail when I found it as well. And it's a Black Sabbath Master of Reality original pressing. And I remember finding this, and just when I first picked it up out of the bin, I remember thinking that is so clean, it can't be an original pressing. Because, you know, again, with the black cover and the fading that took place and blah, blah, blah. But as you can see, that is extremely clean right there. And so I consider that to be a grail the day that I found it, just because of the condition that it was in. All right, so those would be like 3 examples of things that are automatically grails based on condition compared to what you normally see with them. The second one would be probably the most common one that we all use, I would say, which is value grails. You know, these are just albums that are worth a good chunk of money. So a couple of those examples would be something like James Blunt, Back to Bedlam. You know, but again, just an album that I picked up when it first got released. I think I paid $24 for it, $25 for it. I think I got it at Vintage Vinyl in St. Louis. And Yeah, I bought it brand new for 25 bucks, and these are going for one in this condition, which is basically near mint minus near mint. 575 bucks, almost 600 bucks, about what these are going for. So again, just strictly based on value, I could definitely consider that a grail. My self-titled Godsmack. This is the original pressing. Came out. This album came out in 1998. My favorite band, so it's also kind of awesome to have it in that regard. And I think when this first came out, I think I paid like $26.99 for it or something right around those lines. And I've seen these today, going median somewhere around $350, something like that. 600 on the high side they've sold. I recently saw one at a record show that they had 600 on it. And so to have one like this, which is basically near mint minus, I give it a minus because of that little corner right down there, and being autographed by Sully, it's always hard to figure out how to, add value because of an autograph or something like that. But, I think this is easily a $600, $700 record, something like that. So those are pretty good, 20 plus buck collection or investment, I should say. But yeah, I mean, that's one just not only being my favorite band, but based on value, I think is definitely one. And then even like, I forgot they had it up there, the Audio Slave Revelations. That's an original pressing, sealed copy, near mint mint across the board. And then those go for like a sealed one. I think the last one sold for about $625 or something like that. I paid $12.99 for that when it first came out. So those are value grails, just strictly, based on value. The third one that I would go into is that becomes a grail for me, and I have 4 total. The third one for me is Rarity grail. And so what that comes down to is like, it doesn't have to be an expensive record at all. Like for me, it's just, this is a record that through my almost 20 years of digging, and all the record shows and stores that I've been to all across the country and blah, 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 I've just never seen these in the wild. I've never seen these. And so the rarity of the album, not necessarily the value, is what makes it a grail for me. So 3 good examples of that for me personally would be this Boston self-titled, which you can see there is a white label promo. And so again, this isn't some crazy $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 record or anything like that. I mean, these probably go for like $150, maybe $175, somewhere in that ballpark. Which in today's record world is just not, not crazy at all. But still, it's like, I can't say that I've stumbled across self-titled white label promos in my 20 years just being out and digging. And of course, you take all this with a grain of salt, because today, especially if you're willing to spend a little more, you can get online and find almost anything just like that, unless you're getting into like, crazy, insane, rare psych stuff that's just not even available, blah, blah, blah. But, this is just one that I just have not stumbled across that much. So the rarity of that made it a special grail to me. Same thing here, David Bowie, Aladdin Sane, promos, you can see there with the promo sticker. And again, this record may be $100, somewhere around there, which is, basically nothing. I mean, you have like brand new releases from artists come out today that they're, that cost $50. So this is like barely twice that. But this is not something that I've stumbled across at all throughout my years of collecting until I found this one. So I think just from a rarity standpoint, an Aladdin Sane promo like that is just pretty freaking cool to me, and that's a grail based on rarity. And this one can kind of hit all 3, really, that I've named so far. We're talking about condition, value, and then also rarity. Something like a Bob Dylan, Times Are Changing, white label promo, exact same thing. Just rare. I don't see them that often. It's in fantastic condition, and it does have great value as well. So this one kind of hits a number of the categories across the board. But so those are 3 that I would say kind of that fall on that rarity grail for me. And then the fourth and last category that I put for grails are the search. So my search grails. You know, pretty much any movie you watch, if you know King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table, and you know, almost any movie or show where they're searching for the Grail, 90% of the movie is about the search, right? The journey to go to find the Grail. And so to me, that same thing applies with records. So oftentimes what the search grails are for me is these are the records that are probably your typical $5, $10, you know, maybe a little bit more, but in general, they are the very common median, middle of the road, on the low side. You know, I say your $10 records, but it's just, I just have not stumbled across this, and I've wanted this album for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And again, we're talking about stumble acrossing it in the wild, because you can get online and buy just about anything, right? But so these are kind of three albums that took me quite a while to find, and when I did, I was just as excited as if I found, you know, a $1,000 something that's extremely rare that I found in a dollar bin or something like that. Like the same initial surge came to me when I was flipping and saw it, right? So great examples of the search grails for me is stuff like the Boogie Boys, City Life, which I just got this, I think, last year, year before last. Just an old school hip hop record that I have wanted for I don't know how long. Has one of the first early songs I liked in hip hop, which is called "A Fly Girl" on here. Came out in 1985. This is a $12 record. Like I said, nothing special or crazy. I just never could stumble across a copy of it. All the record shows and everything else. It seems like there's never gigantic hip hop sections at a lot of the shows I go to anyway. They always tend to be pretty small, and this is just one album that never popped up. A number of years ago, like maybe 6 years ago, something like that, I remember finding one at a show, but it had like a bunch of ringwear and stuff like that, and I was just like, no, can't do it. So to find, you know, one that was in the condition that was acceptable for my collection, I mean, I literally remember flipping across this and going, yes, when it popped up, because I was so excited. And like I said, it was a $12 record. I think I paid $5 for it that day. So that's a search grail. Some stuff like this, which is loose ends, a little spice. And one thing I feel like you really kind of find these days, especially out in the wild, when it comes to finding a lot of this old 80s R&B stuff, a lot of that stuff to me from a search perspective has become total grails. It just seems like there's not a ton of it out there. They just don't pop up that much, and it's just typically not a big focus that you see in a lot of stores that you go to. So a good chunk of this 80s R&B stuff is just seems to be really, really hard to find just out in the wild. And this Loose Ends, A Little Spice is a perfect example of that. Great album. And again, this is a $7 album. Like, it's not something that's crazy valuable, but just do not stumble across it. And a third one I would give for that search grail piece would be this one here, which is Lionel Richie, Back to Front. This was kind of just another one of his greatest hits albums. I think this one came out in 1992. I used to have this CD and I listened to it all the time. So I always thought it'd be really cool to get it on vinyl, and you know, I finally stumbled across one after years and years and years, and actually a sealed copy too, which is kind of nice. But yeah, the exact same thing. And this one's worth a little bit more. You know, I think I paid $7 for it when I found it, but you know, it's worth like maybe $65 now, somewhere around there. So it has a teeny bit more value to it, but still, this one was definitely all about the search, without question. So there you go, guys. That's kind of my breakdown of things that I consider to be grails, or giving me a grail feel when they come into my collection and into my hands. So as always, let me know what you think, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.